Hello friends, welcome to my vlog. In this vlog, we will be seeing an interview of Dr. Anantamu, who is presently working as a nurse scientist in Qatar. He also worked as a lecturer in one of the best universities in Malaysia for 7 long years. We recorded this interview during the lunch break, so the camera angle was not that correct. So please, but it's worth to listen the full interview because it will help you to understand the lifestyle, the remuneration for nurses in Malaysia as well as in Qatar. So if you are someone who is working in academics and keen to migrate to other countries, especially Malaysia or Qatar, this interview will definitely going to help you. I conducted this interview when I was in Qatar, which is around 5 to 6 months before. So please do watch the full video, and it will definitely help you to take a decision whether to migrate to Malaysia or to Qatar. Hello friends, welcome to my channel. I would like to introduce you Dr. Anant Nazari. He is from Tamil Nadu basically, and he had work in Malaysia and now he is in Qatar. So we would like to get both the countries' prospect for in terms of healthcare professions, the scope of jobs over there, and life in these countries, and most importantly the remuneration that we can expect from these countries. So let's get started. He has just recently completed a PhD. Mr. Anand to introduce himself in terms of education from where he completed and what was his previous experience in nursing.
Good morning, Mr. Ashish. Good morning, friends. My name is Anand Nasrin. I am from Tamil Nadu. I have completed my bachelor's by the year 2002, and after 5 years of experience in the clinicals and in the academic side, then I started my master's in psychiatric nursing. That's between 2007 to 2009. It was in Bangalore. Then I worked for 1 year in Bangalore in a college. Then after that I moved to Malaysia. From 2010 until 2017 I was in Malaysia, and 2017 I came to Qatar. Now I am here in Qatar.
So more than 7 years in Malaysia.
Yeah, 7 years.
And then it means you are literally more than 10 years out of India.
Yes.
So I would like to ask you, what makes you to think that overseas job will be a better opportunity for you as compared to what we had back home?
Okay. Actually, when I completed my after I completed my bachelor, I was working in the clinical area. It was, they have the education based too, so it was a nice experience. But after I complete my masters, my in terms of salary, it was not good enough to run the family. So I just got married after immediately after my graduation. So even I was not interested because my wife also was working, so we were doing good, but it was there was an opportunity, so I just tried. Let's try, because my aim was just go for an experience and come back after 2 years. But once I landed in Malaysia, then I couldn't come back as I planned. I stayed there.
Okay, so let us, like, the audience might be interested that where you studied your bachelor's and where you studied your master's, what exposure you got. Did that change you? Did that make you to try for overseas job?
My bachelor's I did in Tamil Nadu. The practices were in one of the district big hospital actually. So actually that was my motivation to work in clinicals, made me to stay in the clinical areas for 5 years. But after I did my masters, during my masters, my dean was very motivating me. Actually, she was as a research scholar, and she was the one motivating me all the time. You have to try out of the box kind of thing, because I was just thinking, stay in Bangalore, get settled in Bangalore, that's it.
Okay.
And she was the one motivating me. So as I told you, I completed my masters in Bangalore. Then after that, still she was now she is in contact with me, and she is in abroad, and she is always motivating me to do something more than what we can always do. I think she is the one actually.
Okay, so your principal was a motivating factor, a driving force for you to try for abroad.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good thing. So it's very important to study in a good college where the people are motivated and will direct you to what is best for you, and that is very important for. So if somebody want to try for overseas job. So I think it's very important that they should land in a good college.
Yes.
And get in a adequate exposure. So like after your graduation, after your post graduation, you work in a clinical side. Is that intended you did it, or you because you wanted to go abroad, that's why you work in clinicals, or it just one by accident?
No, actually it happened by accident. After that, after my masters, I was mainly in the clinical areas. So there was an interview. So I had very less experience after my masters compared to my friends, because it's about 15 members. 15 of my friends were going for an interview, and I was the least experienced one after my master. So I just went for an exposure. And during I was the first one was called for the interview, since I was my name was the first one. So actually during the interview, actually I was really attracted, not just by the packages. It's about their goal. Actually in Malaysia they had only diploma programs, and they wanted to start the bachelor program, and it was one of the pioneer university, and they want the experts from India to create the curriculum for them. So it's like start from the scratch. So that's where we can show something out of us. So it was the motivating factor actually to agree the offer, because all the experienced people who came for the interview, they refused that, and they went back actually. So in that one I was attracted by their the approach. So I opted for that.
Okay. So now we got to know this. But when you landed, when you got selected for Malaysia, so you might have heard something about the country, like how is that country, and when you actually landed in that country after your visa processing and all, did you find any difference? What has been taught? What has been talking about that country in India, and what is the actual picture in that country?
Actually, when I was saying to my friends and the colleagues about I'm going to Malaysia, everybody was looking at me. Why Malaysia? Because always nurses prefer to go US. At least is actually Middle East. After the masters, usually least is Middle East, and the most of the people have to go European countries.
Yeah.
So they were asking why it is like that. Then I said it happened to me, so I just agreed. But no, the perspective that they had, they were giving to me was very negative about Malaysia in terms of safety, in terms of how you are going to survive there. So many questions were there actually. Even the agency who recruited me, they were giving so much of cautious measures to be followed, this and everything. And when I went there, actually I was alone, because my process was a bit delayed because of some personal issues. And when I went there, the HR was in the airport to receive me. I was not knowing that who is she actually. Then later I understood that she is the HR manager. The university is about 300 staffs in the one campus itself. They had 3 campuses. So in that HR manager was there to receive me, and they took me to the accommodation. So nice warming welcome. Then after that I stayed for 7 years. I haven't experienced any of the negative experiences what I was informed.
So it was what you heard in India about Malaysia was completely. So it was negative. It's a bit of negative. And the actual picture was very much positive. Very much positive. So that's initial impression. But when you work for 7 years, how was your life there? How was you was there with your family, right?
Yeah.
So how is the family life in Malaysia? What are the expenses? How much you can expect to save? And how about the kids' education? Can you just give some brief idea to our audience, so that might be helpful for taking them a decision on that? Yeah.
I landed in Malaysia by 2010 September, and 1 year after that, exactly September 2011, my wife landed. Actually, she was in another university. It's about 70 kilometers far away. But God's grace, next year itself, she was, and actually no, it's about I think my HR came to me and asked that, I heard that your wife is here, why can't she apply here? I believe that within this 2 years of time, the HR and the dean, everybody know me, and know how much we give out of ourselves, it will attract the people. And without knowing my wife, and they were about to employ, and by 2012 we were together in the same university. And no, actually you just imagine in a nursing department, actually when I joined, we were so many nationals, like there were Filipinos, there were Indonesians, so many new South Asian countries actually. And I was only one male there, but I was given all the support in terms of academic, professional and even personal this also. So they were very nice people actually. And casting wise, since it was an urban area where I was living, I had a luxurious life, could say that, with a car, with a double-story building, with a very cheap, what is it, the rent, and
like-
even the food is very cheap there. You will get all the Indian food, and you will have more Indians because Indians are the third major population in Malaysia. So you will have Indians of South Indians and as well as the North Indians. You will see Punjabis there. So it was a nice experience and like a home experience. We never thought that it is somewhere we are in a wonderland kind of thing. We have the home feeling.
Okay, so overall it's a like positive experience
Positive,
for you,
very
like
positive.
for family as well as for your, when you first independent, like bachelor, as a bachelor also it was a good experience
Yeah.
for you. How about kids education?
Kids education, actually there were the government school, actually it's very cheap. Very cheap. Anybody can, as long as you have their card, like immigration card, so you will have, you can get the admissions there, no, not an issue. And the schools are really good actually, the government sectors. If you want to go for an private sector with the 2 people salary, you will enjoy the life actually. It's not so hard. But our intention was mainly saving the money. That's the reason why we could not stay there actually. But no, like it's not so burden. Most of my friends' kids were studying in the what is that, government sector, and they were doing good. They were excellent actually.
Okay. So is family life also, kids education also is good.
Yeah.
Overall
Yeah,
it's a
overall
it's a
is good
country.
actually. Yeah.
And how about the people? How they perceive? Okay, this is about your personal experience. But when you interact with the Malaysian people, what kind of response you get from them? Is it they are welcoming, or they see you as a threat to their future? How it was?
Actually, this is my. I'm an Indian, so I was in Malaysia. Now I'm in Qatar. Comparing these three, Malaysia is the best nation to welcome, because as an person from Tamil Nadu, if I go to Karnataka, I don't see the smiling faces when I land there.
Okay.
But when I went there, from the immigration itself, the people are very friendly. I think I can share an experience. Once I went to the income tax department. Income tax is very less. Don't get scared, and I will get back everything. And when I went there, I had some issues in my logging and ID and all. The income tax main officer, he came because they said that he is the one can do it, and he came. Because I was saying that, sir, I just came on 1 hour permission, so I should go back. So he came by himself, sat with me like a table there, and did everything and finished it. So it's very friendly. We don't need to like our sorry to say that, like our Indian government officers, we are not expected to begging them, waiting for the things to be done. It will go as it like a process. So very friendly people they are. And while send off, my whole office was in the airport to send me.
Wow.
From the dean. Everybody were there. That much actually.
That much welcoming they are,
Yeah.
and they see you as a part of their family, they're
Yes.
part of their country, and they acknowledge your contribution for the
Yeah,
development of their country. Wow, that's amazing. You told everything good about the Malaysia. You had very good job. You and your wife were working in the same university. What makes you to think that, okay, now Malaysia, 7 years or 8 years, and that's it, that's enough for me. Now I have to move to other country. What was the trigger incident that make you to take that decision?
Actually, it was hard to take the decision to leave Malaysia, because our plan was complete the PhD, then actually husband and wife. If you have the PhD, you will get the PR for 10 years. So no need to get the visas, and you will be getting the employment considered as a permanent employment. So whatever the local Malaysians get, all the facilities will be having, like EPF, everything will have.
Okay.
And taxation is less, only for the experts bit more, but with the childrens we can get back actually. So the reason why I had to think about leaving Malaysia was there was an issue with my license, like as an expatriate cannot be there in the same institute for more than 6 years. But my institution was defending with the board, and they are getting renewal for every year. But it's like always the management goes, and they had to prove that there is no other personals, and he is the only one, and he is doing this much things for the university, for our country. So they have to show so many things as an evidence to prove that he is a worthy person to be employed.
To be employed.
So they did actually. Until I come, I had my license. Even it was for 1 more year I had the license actually. They were even on the day of my farewell, my executive director, they usually never come. He came, and in the farewell itself he told that still the door is open. So that kind of things actually. So but obviously when I came here, my wife also had to leave the country, but my second son was born there. And he has still an option. After 18 years he can go back to Malaysia and get the citizenship there.
Wow, that's amazing. Yes. So the situation, like the law make you to take that decision,
yes.
not the people over there, not the job of job in university.
Yes.
So there is no problem from the job, no problem for the people who are residing there. It's the law, immigration law made you to take decision. Okay. So overall, just a rough estimate actually. The audience might be interested in that, getting that figure. How much we can expect in a decent university in Malaysia if you are a nursing professional?
Okay. Actually, I was in a private university. Even experts can be employed in the government universities also.
Yeah.
If you some of my friends are working in government universities, and you'll be paid very decent. It's about 10 to 15,000 real, it equivalent to 2 to 3 lakhs. The basic one. And if you are employed in the government universities, they'll give the housing also.
Wow.
And in the private university, I didn't have my PhD that time, so I just started. So my package was about 1 lakh to 1 lakh 50,000 rupees actually. So we both were earning. It was good actually. We able to save. We had a luxurious life. It's not like very luxurious, that intended kind of thing. But as compared to the previous lifestyle, we had a luxurious life. We had everything in our plate, in our packets, everything actually.
Yeah. So 1.5 lakh is a rough estimation in private university, and 3 lakh in a government university. If you are a teaching professional, academic professional. Okay. So now you migrated from Malaysia to Qatar. So why you choose Qatar? There might be other options for you as well. So what makes you take the decision that okay, Qatar will be the next destination for me and my family?
Actually, I was planning to settle in India. I tried some of the universities, but the problem is they were asking me to come for a face-to-face interview, but my visa is about to expire, so I cannot travel out of Malaysia because my family is there and I had to settle everything. So if I come out of country, I could not go back. So that's the reason why I was bargaining with them. But while the bargaining, it was one university from Uttar Pradesh and one is from Nagpur, mostly from North India. So meanwhile, one of my ex-student, he was in Qatar. He called me and told that there is an interview going on. Just apply. And when I was looking at the profile, it was actually staff nurse. So but still he was insisting me like no, once you come there, you will have easy to just go up. So I put my trust on God, and I applied, and I am here now.
Okay. So how would you work here in Malaysia for 7 years as a teaching professional, as a lecturer, and then sudden transition to the bedside nursing, and that too in a very lower grade than you were there actually in Malaysia. So how difficult it was for you, and did you expect that you will face some challenges, and you had some counteraction plan for that? So what was that? Can you elaborate more on that?
Okay, actually as the package wise here it's more. I think it's about it's about triple portions of what I was getting there. So
even for staff nurse.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's the reason why I chose, of course.
So financial remuneration was the main that was the main reason that you chose. Even if you staff nurse, it doesn't matter. But money what you are getting is more than what you are getting in Malaysia.
And one more, my student actually he's here more than 10 years, and his promise was like this: like once you come there with your experience and expertise, you will go up very faster.
Okay.
So that's the reason why like remuneration wise we are happy, and there is an option for career pathway. So okay, I opted.
Yeah. So see, majority of the people in India, they might have completed PhD, and they might be working in academic side after masters, and when they try to apply to Qatar, most likely they don't get the position they are looking for, mostly researcher or educator or quality improvement reviewer or director of nursing. that position they don't offer you directly from overseas. So anybody who is coming, so Mr. Anand, Dr. Anand is a best example. He has PhD. He was in academic field for 7 years, that too in one of the good university in Malaysia. But still he has to come as a clinical staff.
So.
And he chose that option because he believed on his own competency, and he was knowing that one or other day his knowledge, his experience will be recognized and he will be promoted. And that happened. Eventually that happened, and he's here as a researcher. So people who are aiming to come to the Qatar, and they feel that okay, I have masters, I'm doing PhD, or I have so many publications, I work in a clinical teaching side for several years, I get a direct teaching position or direct researcher position. So that's not that easy, because the people who applied in Qatar are from many different countries. They apply from UK, Australia, South Africa, and other Middle East countries, and from India as well. So the competition is very tough, and getting higher positions is 1 in 100 cases. It's very difficult to get that. So don't assume that you will get directly on a higher position. You need to come as a clinical nurse and then prove your competency, and then you may get promoted. That is for sure. If you believe on yourself, if you are confident that you are expert in your field, what you are doing, and then definitely the door is open for you. So that need to be taken into consideration. Okay. So now when you come to Qatar, now you might have also heard about Qatar, right? So how similar, how different it was than what you heard and when you actually land in Qatar?
Okay, actually until I learned, some of my friends who are working with me in Malaysia, they came somewhat earlier before me here, and they were already in the same institution where I am now. And they were often calling us and saying that we are doing good, better than there, or best than there. And I used to ask them that you are in Middle East country, or you have any hiccups, kind of things. And because I heard that usually Middle East country means it's about so much of restrictions kind of thing. But they were very free. One of my sister, she was calling, I think it's about midnight 12 o'clock kind of thing in Qatar, and she was telling, I'm walking alone in the street. I was wondering, because we never think about it in our own country, walking in a street, a lady, but she was calling me, and it was giving so much of positive things. Now, like then after that, I was just asking about Dove. I had no intention that time to plan of moving here. So they were telling about education is good, and working is good, remuneration is good, we are settling, kind of things. Somewhere there is a motive. Okay, if at all I get a chance, I move there. Kind of attitude was there. That's why I think when it comes, I could say yes. Okay.
So it's obviously that people will tell bad. Like there are many negative things about the Middle East countries in India. They talk like there will be many restrictions, and you have experienced that there is nothing as such. What you heard back at home. And I too confirm that, because I'm here for more than 8 years now, and it's absolutely a free country. What about your family life? Your wife is also working here?
Yeah, my wife is also working here.
Okay, she's also one of the good government institutions, right? Yeah. So both of you are working. Your family is here now. Can you just elaborate more on the life of Indian family in Qatar?
Indian families, no, actually Indians are the major population here. So most of the time you don't feel that you are out of India.
Out of India, yeah.
Actually, I am living in a flat of 80 flats. It's a condominium, so it's about 80 flats. 76 families are Indians. So you will see Indians all the time. You will hear the languages of India, mostly from South India. So we didn't have any troubles in terms of safety, security, familiarity in Qatar. And as far as the safety concerned, ladies are well respected. So no need to fear about that. Well respected. So gents always have a distance with you. So no need to worry about any kind of thing. And children are well respected. And schooling, I think so many Indian schools are there. So many. It can accommodate, because I told you it's a major population Indians. So they have the really huge numbers of CBSE schools, CBSE schools actually here. So my daughter also studying there. So we are doing good.
Okay. So overall, it's also a positive experience.
Yes, really positive.
What you heard before was obviously negative, but when you came here, you personally feel that it's a positive experience. Schooling, there are many schools available in Qatar. You mentioned that. How about the costing in schooling? How much fees we need to pay?
Okay.
And just tell me about the standard which your daughter or son is studying, and how much you are paying.
Actually, my daughter is studying in a good school. Actually, the Indian management, as I told you, and per year it's about per year I'm spending about 2 lakh rupees for my daughter.
Okay.
Actually, I heard from my friends they are in Bangalore and they are paying more
This
than
much.
that.
Yeah.
More than that even actually.
Yeah.
So it is not what is that? No, like it's really hard kind of thing. It's easy actually, no, getting admissions and. Though my daughter came in the middle of the academic year, I approached the ministry and they gave her an opportunity to join in the middle because we were migrating in the middle of the academic year.
Okay.
So we didn't have any hurdles in terms of getting admission or getting a good school or in terms of payment of the tuition fee also. So it's okay.
Yeah. So I would like to just make clear that there are many schools available which are based on CBSE syllabus, and there are many options available, right, from the lowest fees to the highest fees. As per the standards goes up, so fees also goes up. So somewhere around 50,000 you can start, and then you can pay up to 3 to 4 lakhs a year. So that also is possible. So it depends on you what you you can afford. Yeah. So and there are many schools available. You don't feel that you're out of country. In all Indian universities are available.
Yeah.
And the most common language used in Qatar is Hindi. So you don't feel that you're out of India mostly. Actually, that nothing makes you to feel that you're homesick. There's no homesickness as such when you're coming from India. And I think this is the best country to be if you want to earn a good package with Indian culture, and you want to grow your kids in Indian schools, Indian education system. So I think this is the best country that one can think of.
Yes.
So Anand, like you work in a clinical side, so just give overview of nurses who want to come in Qatar as a clinical nurse. So what is the how many shifts they have to do, what they can expect about salary wise, and just overall, just give description of that, so that it will be helpful for a few of the candidates who would really want to think of moving to Qatar.
I think, but let me recommend or suggest you stay in the clinical area. It is very easy to come to abroad. After your bachelor's or master's, you stay or get connected with that.
Very important.
Yeah, and though I was working in Malaysia in an university. What the thing brought me here was we had 27 hospitals are attached to the university, their own hospitals actually, and everyone were JC accredited, and we were sent in a regular basis for clinical attachment, and we be with the students as they go for the clinicals, and psychiatry as far as the psychiatry experience is concerned, I was the only psychiatric lecturer there, so I was sent with diploma students, bachelor students, and post basic geriatric students. So I was feeling like I am in a clinical area kind of thing, and good exposure with the clinicals, the current system updates and everything. And when we come back to the university, we impose it to the students. This is the update from the clinical. So we always feel that we are on the track with the recent updates. That was a good thing actually. So when I came here, I didn't feel that much challenges because what I have been doing that, full time I'm doing it here, that's it.
Yeah.
So I didn't have much challenges kind of thing. It was very easy for me to complete my probation, and as a staff nurse, you can get at least the basic of 2 lakhs to minimum is you will get it about 2 lakhs excluding the accommodation. The company provides accommodation. If you don't want, they'll give the money. Even there you can save it a lot. And since my wife also working, the amount is doubled up. Doubled up, and you will save lots of money.
And the minimum salary, as you mentioned, that is around 2 lakh, that excluding allowance. That is the basic salary. And then top of that, we'll get the housing allowance. The company doesn't provide you the accommodation, and there is a transport allowance as well, and lots of overtime if you are in a good setup.
Yes.
If you're a good setup. So rough estimate is around, the minimum can consider 2 lakhs and maximum up to
3 lakhs.
3 lakhs. 3 lakhs. For this is a staff nurse salary, that too per month, not per annum. Just be mindful of that. So